Bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Olabode BANKOLE. S'il vous plaît, je ne parle pas le français couramment. Alors, je vais vous présenter en anglais, s'il vous plaît. The topic of my thesis is a consequence de circulation de diagenetique fluid dans un vieux système pétrolier de age paleoproterozoic Gabon. And the supervisor of my project is Albani. The geological setting of the Franceville Basin. The Franceville Basin consists of a series of sedimentary sequences that is between 1 to 2.5 kilometers thick, depending on the area. And most of the sedimentary cluster consists of sediment of lower Proterozoic of approximately 2.1 billion years. And the Franceville Basin overlies the Archean age of the basement rocks, which had been dated to be 2.7 billion years. And from literatures, this basin has been divided into 5 lithologies, from AFR to FE, depending on the lithophases. And it is a basin that is widely known for its uranium exploration. And it has been widely explored, and it is the oldest known basin that consists of natural uranium reactor in the whole world. And also, because of the abundance of organic matter in one of the overlying sequence, which is the FB, it is very rich in organic matter and had generated hydrocarbon. Where there are normal fault, this hydrocarbon had migrated to the lower reservoir rocks FR, which is the bottom sandstone, and presently being preserved as bitumen. And the reason is because of the age and also due to tectonic activities. And here is the map of the Franceville Basin, or the general geological map of Gabon. And this is where the Franceville Basin outcrops. Basically, it outcrops in 3 different regions: the Franceville, the Franceville, and the Okonja. And this is the area that my study focuses on, Franceville Basin. And in detail, here is the structural map of Franceville Basin. And my work basically is to compare the stratigraphy from here, from Mabinga, Bagombe, and Kene-Otobo, because there are variation in this lithology, and especially in their color variation, because of the uranium. Because this is the FR, the reservoir rocks, where my study focuses on the lower part, and it is this sediment that consists of the uranium that is highly mineralized at the upper part. This is the FB formation that is highly rich in organic matter that generated hydrocarbon that had migrated to the lower part, and currently they are being stored as bitumen at the upper part. But one strange thing here, or let me say strange thing, one good thing to note here is because of the color variation from the basin edge to the basin center. There are a lot of color variation in this, and from literature, some researchers proposes that this coloration was due to the migration of this uranium field after being mineralized. They oxidized and migrated to the top, thereby oxidizing all the iron there from iron 2 to iron 3, forming the red coloration, a red bed. But another significant thing to note is that the fine grain fasces here consists of mixture of this alternation of this red color and the green color. And the question is, are these colors secondary or are they primary? And that forms the objective, the main goal of my work. That is to investigate the chemical diagenesis associated with the formation of white color changes and evaluate the influence of pervasive paleofluid flow within the FR sandstone. That is to really understand what really happened during this fluid migration. Was it due to the uranium flow, or because of the lower amount of oxygen in the system during the old age, that was during the Proterozoic era? And the objective is to characterize the mineralogy and the geochemistry of all the fasces that are present in these 3 different locations: Mabinga, Bagombe, and the Kene-Otobo, and also try to constrain the relative timing of all these minerals and understand the various controls of this diagenetic event on the texture and also on the mineralogy. What approach do I want to employ? The first thing is to consider to look at the sedimentology and the stratigraphy. This will be achieved by physical observation, and then construct and correlate the distribution of this lithology across the basin, from the basin center to the basin edge, and also use different techniques to understand mineralogy, that is to distinguish between the detrital minerals and also the orthogenic mineral using optical microscopy, SEM and XRD, and also try to understand the crystal chemistry, or should I say the chemical composition of these minerals per se. And I will also use geochemistry. And here we are employing, we are using ICP-MS only on fine grained sediment because we want to look at the impact of diagenetic influence on this, because detrital materials, all the diagenetic on detrital materials, the quasar materials, we only conserve detrital input, but it is believed that because of the low permeability and the fineness of these materials, the fine grain will help us to really understand if really the fluid flow affect the migration of these materials or not. So we are only doing the ICP-MS on limited sample, and also perhaps use stable isotopes to understand the composition of the diagenetic fluid and some of this orthogenic mineral that is on the barite, the calcite, and also the anhydrite that are in this, and try to also date geochronology, date the timing, the relative timing, to understand the sequence of events of all these processes that affected the basin. And the last thing that I will do is to integrate all this data that I might have acquired in the basin modeling to understand how it varies across the distribution of this paleo fluid through the basin and across the Franceville Basin. And for the support, Photo Sharon, the region, and also the University of Poitiers, the Institute of IC, Do MP, and Idraza. Thank you.